talk about it. Inoue destroyed Stephen Fulton. That's why he was the favorite. But nobody expected him to not lose a second of this fight. Watched the whole thing. Shout out to ESPN Plus. Shout out to Verizon for gifting me ESPN Plus and the Hulu bundle. But yeah, man. I mean, first and foremost, the fans were very respectful. And that's how human nature supposed to be. Obviously you look for the raucous crowd and had a lot of humanity. But then again, it's, going to different places and different venues. I mean, just from American sports, you go to Atlanta venue, play an Atlanta team, it's going to be more of an urban field. If you go to New England, it's going to be more of a racist field. Let's be real. I mean, so with the Boston in that area, you go to certain college stadiums, it's going to be rocking. So it's always good to have a good mixed type of caliber. But he looked like hella nervous coming out to that fight, bro. Like, I was kind of looking at him come to the ring, taking deep breaths. He looked nervous. He looked a little bit jittery, kind of when they was announcing him in the ring, moving back and forth. It didn't like he was ready for that. Now, he did come off a 13-month layoff. So he'd been off a whole year. That account for a lot. After the fight, he said it was more him, not Inoue. And maybe it was the travel, maybe it was the 13-month layoff. Al Heyman at least got to keep his blue chippers active, but that's another conversation for another day. And exactly what I said. Everybody said, well, he got to stay on the outside. And when you go out there, even you got the smaller men coming up, but you got a guy, they come out there, you can't show him. You got to get his respect, especially when you got 8 knockouts. And Inoue showed him respect early on. He sure did. Inoue didn't just bull rush him. He showed him a lot of respect. And when he seen that Fulton was gunshot and Fulton wasn't going to lead off, that became an issue. And there was a lot of issues in this fight for Stephen Fulton. His base was too wide. That's why Inoue was able to, get that stab jab to the body, and he couldn't do nothing about it. And that jab was to set up the right hand over the top, and everybody knew it. But Fulton did do a great job of taking away his lead left hook. Nobody gonna talk about that, but he gave up the jab to the body, and that's because his base was too wide, like Timothy Bradley say. Adrian Broner used to have this wide base, and when you have a wide base, that's usually signaling that you are trying to generate power. And when your base is wide like that, you can't maneuver the way you need to maneuver. That's why Adrian Broner moved up in weight and still had that wide base when he should have been moving up in weight, bringing that base in and trying to beat guys with his quickness and his speed. Inoue did exactly what a smaller fighter supposed to do when he move up. He supposed to beat you with his speed. That's exactly what he did. And look at his size of his legs. His legs look like Pacquiao and Terrence Crawford legs. So that's where the power come from. And that's where he was beating Stephen Fulton to the punch at. His base and his speed, his base allowed him to get in and out. And I noticed that on film that he was the better athlete. Now, Fulton is still the slicker fighter. And Fulton blocked a lot of that shit early on, and he would have been knocked out a lot early. He blocked a tremendous amount early on. His defense was really good in that fight. And it might sound funny saying it, but all defense and no offense. I mean, you can't keep him up off of you. And he was getting off with body shots. He was getting off with head shots. He was having difficulty. Big difficulty. I don't know what's that in that tree buzzing like that. But he was having difficulty, but it was the speed that killed him. It was the boxing IQ, the power. I think he expected it. He did a great job of picking up, rolling a lot of those shots. Inoue's punching at the guard. I don't think he was punching too much through the guard early on. And Fulton was doing a good job. And believe it or not, Fulton hurt him with a couple right hands. He hurt Inoue with a couple right hands in that fight. And the thing about it is when he landed the shot, he was so worried about Inoue coming back and countering with the left hook, countering with the right hand, that he never followed up. He'd throw a good shot and he'd freeze. Early on he was trying to win on the outside, but he couldn't catch Inoue coming in and out. So then what they tried to do was they tried to go into the pocket. Then he started getting beat up. He got caught no man's land. You in the pocket, you better be first with that guy. And what he needs to do is get on the inside and work him. And when he got on the inside, Inoue was punching with the free hand, but Fulton was doing some good work when he got on the inside, ripping the body a little bit, doing some good things. So, but he couldn't stay there. And every time he got on the inside, Inoue knew how to hold, and the referee wouldn't let him work on the inside. So, but he needed to find a way to get on the inside, and that was the only way he was gonna win that fight. Win that fight is get on the inside. And when he got there, Inoue was really good at holding, and Fulton just couldn't really break free. But when he did get his hands loose a couple times when allowed to work, he did some good work in there on the inside. I think sometime middle of the fight he landed a good shoe shine. But he had to close the gap. When you fight guys like that, you got to take away their angles, or you got to close the gap on them. And his base was just too wide to get away from that stab jab. But Inoue power was just too much. His speed was, I wouldn't even say too much the power. It was the speed, the technique, the footwork. That's why I noticed on film. I said, this dude is pretty much a complete fighter, bro. Only thing I ain't really seen is the real inside work, which y'all consider inside work. I don't consider inside work. I don't consider it. I don't consider it, bro. I don't consider it. When he was in the inside with Fulton, it was just like when he tied up, he tried to beat him up with the free hand. He didn't get in there and work, and he kind of stood up a little high on the inside too. He didn't really. Inoue probably got to work on the inside fighting, but other than that, he damn near complete. And he just picked Fulton off. He danced around Fulton. I mean, he showed Fulton a lot of respect. He had a problem hitting the target. I give Fulton that. Fulton just couldn't mount no offense. But Fulton he hurt him a couple of times with a good right hand. And then another thing, Fulton would, he would get off on Fulton, and then Fulton would allow him to like Tim Bradley said, recharge his batteries. Then he'd be able to get a breather, and then he'd jump on Fulton again. And Fulton would just sit there and not do nothing. And I knew when Fulton was walking to the ring, he was a little bit nervous. He was nervous. He took a real deep breath, and he was kind of jittery in the corner while they was announcing them. I said, yeah, bro, I think he knew what he signed up for. He went out there, saw the challenge, came up short. Could have been in travel, could have been the water, could have been the amenities, could have been a 13-month layoff. And Al Heyman is doing him a disservice. All his blue chip fighters, his name fighters, the world titles, the Tanks, the Wilders, those type of dudes, they all should be fighting 3 or 4 times a year. He needs to come up with a tier board. And any guys that feel like they deserve more than, I'm going to do a video on this, but I'm going to talk about any guys that think they deserve more than what they getting, they should be granted their release. Come up with a tier board. These my main event fighters. These my co-main event fighters. These are my opening fight card fighters. Or these are my middle of the card fighters. That's how you rank. You rank them in tiers. Then you got other possible opponents that you can utilize somewhere else, man. So you can utilize somewhere else. But potential mandatories, you had them in a different category. But yeah, man, I gotta continue to say, man, I mean, he put on a performance of a world-class performance. Nobody takes a world-class fighter and people say, well, Fulton wasn't even on my pound for pound list, this, that, and the third, and woo, you can't say this, man, dude dismantled him. And it was Fulton was under 30 years old. Crawford and Spence is north of 30. That fight is not a prime fight, bro. It's a past prime fight. It's a PPF, past prime fight. That was a prime fight. And Inoue then did more in his career, and shit, he did more in his career than Errol Spence. Let's be real. So, he beat another elite fighter. He's been undisputed. you know, just point it out there. People want to ignore the facts. Just because, you know, y'all don't follow or y'all don't know the names on his resume, and just because, you know, we get into that debate about Spencer Crawford, oh man, his name's, you know, it ain't about names, it's quality. It's quality. It's winning belts, it's moving up, beating accolades, taking risks. Dude is the #1 fighter in boxing for me, bro. But I'll have another video separating that. But Fulton ain't nothing to hang his head over. I heard he made north of $3 million for that fight. Could a rematch be in the work down the line? I mean, yeah, get active. Al Heyman doing his fighters a disservice by not keeping them active. But old boy just was the better man tonight. And I seen that on film. And I'm like, yeah. I was hoping Fulton could at least make it a little bit later, you know, but he didn't. So, but 8th round stoppage for the Inoue. Let me know what you girls and guys think. Thumbs up the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. Next subscribe button is the bell icon button. Hit all notifications, increase your chance to get notifications. We go live or drop video financially. Want to support the channel? Cash App $CJ Good 313, Venmo CJ Good 313, PayPal link in the description. Hit the link tree. Congratulations, Inoue, and Fulton to be back. Peace.